Good afternoon, Dr. Cooper. This is Jed Davis here for the Module 5. And I've already made the copy of the data down here. And the next thing I was going to do is here, uh, go to place and place it with nothing, place all of them. That was really cool. I didn't know you could do that until I saw you do that. I really like that. And right here, so I'm going to insert a few columns. What's funny is when I was watching your video and you're using the scale scored, I thought to myself, man, last week she told me not to use a scale scored because we looked at, different years. You had shown me when we had our one-on-one video where, different years they had different amount of questions. And so I had to chuckle to myself that after a few minutes, you had to go back and do the raw score. Uh, so I click here and I'm going to go to data. I'm going to separate those out. Text columns, delimited. It's the comma. Okay. I tried doing this earlier. This is what it did to me, and I'm not sure why it's doing that. I don't know what the merge cell score is, or merge cell why it's doing it. So I'm just going to do this. All right, so I've got it highlighted. Text to columns. Boom. Now it has split them all up. So I don't, like I said, I don't know why it wouldn't let me do it by highlighting the whole column. Um, and then I'm going to make a new sheet so that I can copy what I need and paste it over. So I've got my columns all lined up here, and you can see I've renamed them a little bit differently. It's just easier for me to read this way. And I'm going to go up here to my data analysis tab, do descriptive statistics. Go ahead and do all of those. Got my labels, new worksheet. I need the summary and the confidence level. I'm going to hit OK. And boom, there it is. Now I'm going to make this a little bit easier to read. I went ahead and separated them, did the descriptive statistics, colored them, and gave them all the grid lines and stuff like that so we could see it. My nice pretty sheet here. Now I'm going to go ahead and, well, the first thing I was going to say is, as I was watching your video, you had these two high schools at the same count. I don't know. I've tried to go back and figure out where I messed up, but I couldn't figure it out. I don't know if there's 378, if this was wrong, or I wasn't sure. Um, so I'm hoping that doesn't mess it up too bad. But I did see here, where we talked about how there's only 42, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to run the ANOVA with that. So go back to my campus raw score, go to data analysis, my ANOVA, and for my input range, those two, my labels, worksheet, and there we go. Get this where I can read it a little bit better. Change that just a little bit so I can see it. Love this tool. When I was watching that video, man, that's a huge number. Hugely small. Well, that's how he did it on the video. Let's see if I can change that. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's doing that. I will pause my video and see if I can't fix that. Okay, I got the p-value fixed, so now I can see it better and understand it. And so looking at the F critical value, 3.85, and our F is 23, and we wanted it to be less than this to, I mean, that way we would not reject the null, but since it is larger, okay, that means we are going to reject the null. And this is where last week I was confused until afterwards because I wasn't using that. I was still using the 0.05. And so now I understand what I'm looking at there. So now I'm about to run an ANOVA for the middle school, and looking down here at the middle school, the counts, unlike the high school, all our counts are relatively close together, so we can do an ANOVA on all of them. So I'm going to go back to the raw score, go to my data analysis, ANOVA, and now for my input range, I'm going to do columns D through G. Got my labels, new worksheet, OK. I'm going to rename this ANOVA Middle School. I'll rename the another one ANOVA High School. This way I can just see it a little bit better. And I don't understand why, but for me, it helps me to see these things in the middle. That way the numbers don't tend to run together for the columns. Change that. Something that I can easily read. Okay, there we go. So now that I've got all of these, I'm now going to compare them individually, 41 to 42, then 41 to 44. And I'll do that by going to this sheet and running a t-test. Assuming equal variances. That one. So 41 to 42, 0. I do have labels. So say compare 41 versus 42. Okay, so now it's down here. Make this a little bit easier to read. In the center for me. Oh man, I still got some of these. And I know that's going to give me dust, but I wanted to see them. I know it's a little bit bigger, but at least now I can see those. Okay, and I'm going to, so I did that for 41 versus 42, and now I'm going to pause the video and run that t-test for all of them. So now I am looking at the p-value and the t-critical value for all of these. I highlighted them like you had done. I would say, so on here, this p-value for the two-tail, the t right there, it is less than the t-critical, so that there is a significant difference between middle school 41 and middle school 42. And I did chuckle to myself on this again because this number was originally 6 point something e to the 6th power, I think it was. And so I had to change that to be able to know the difference, just like we did that Nathan showed us during our class time. Here, when I get here, again, this value right there, it is less than the T critical. So they are saying there is a significant difference between those two, 41 and 44. And then 41 and 45, again, it's less than, so there's a significant difference, which, you know, we kind of thought at the beginning just based on the raw score, the mean values of the raw scores, but we didn't know till we did it. And then same thing with 42 and 44. And then when we look at 42 and 45, there is a difference. And then 44 and 45, there is a difference. So after running all the t-tests, I have done the post hoc test, the Bonferroni, and so I did like that YouTube video you showed us. Instead of using 0.05 divided by 3, because he had 3 different groups on there, we had 4 groups on 4 different schools, so I divided by 4, so I got 0.0125. And so I said, is this less than this? And it said true. And so we can say with 95% certainty that there is a difference between middle school 41 and middle school 42. And, you know, we felt good, or I felt good about that. There was a big difference in their mean. And when you look at the variance here, there's a huge difference. And so that makes sense to me. And then when I go, so I've already done them all these, but I'm now just going to go through and show you. So I did it here, and again I got true. So there is a difference between 41 and 44, and again there's a big difference in their variance and all that stuff, and so felt good about that. 41 and 45 was true as well. This one, the variances were a little bit closer, and the means were a little bit closer, but they're still, we feel good about saying that there is a difference. 42 and 44, we got a false, and so there is no difference between these, which, you know, again, that does make sense. I mean, it's barely one point difference in the mean. The variances are relatively close. Then we go to 42 and 45. Again, this one was false, and when you look at those scores, I understand that. And then when I compared 44 and 45, that one was false. So there is no statistical difference between those schools. And when I go, where'd that go? I want to go back to my NOVA. So basically, there was a big difference, or no, I'd be careful with that. There was a difference between 41 and all the other ones here. School 41 between these. And you can see that there was a difference in the average and in the variances. But between some of these schools, there was not a difference. So that makes sense. And that's it. I appreciate it. Have a good day.